For Body Chemistry Associates and Health Connection Radio, I'm your host, Jay Foster. Today we want to talk about some of the factors that might contribute to blood sugar imbalances and all the symptoms we've been talking about with this unstable blood sugar. And we want to look at the trace element chromium. And this is something that, unfortunately, more physicians aren't taught to look at, even though there are quite a few references in the scientific literature, peer-reviewed medical and scientific literature, going back a long time about the trace element chromium and how it interacts with insulin and actually improves insulin insensitivity. So it acts kind of like they give metformin and many other drugs for type 2 diabetes. There's evidence that chromium could do that without the side effects. Invokana just came out, the lawyers representing people suing Invokana just came out saying that if you took Invokana as part of your diabetes medical treatment and you suffered an amputation, call us now because you're twice as likely to have suffered an amputation taking Invokana, and you may be eligible for a cash award if you had toes or legs or fingers cut off. Now, how ridiculous is that? And unfortunately, you don't know about the side effects of these medications until after they're out in the public for a few years, and millions take them. But it's not an Invokana deficiency, it's not a Januvia deficiency, it's not a deficiency of any of the medications, even metformin, which is the safest one of the medications. It's still not a metformin deficiency. But it might be a chromium deficiency. So if you or your doctor went to pubmed.gov today, which is January 10th, 2018, pubmed.gov, pubmed.gov, and they have a search engine there, and if you typed in chromium diabetes as your search terms, would you get back 3 articles? Well, that wouldn't be that many. What about 93? 93 articles, I would say that's pretty good if they were in a peer-reviewed medical journal about chromium helping insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. But there weren't 3 and there weren't 93. There were 793 articles as of today when you search chromium and diabetes at pubmed.gov. How many of those has your doctor read? Well, if they had read more, they wouldn't be prescribing medications that have 1,000 side effects, because it's not an Invokana deficiency or a Januvia deficiency, but it may very well be a chromium deficiency. And on the radio, I would read this journal article real slowly for the endocrinologist. It's from Biological Trace Element Research in 2013. And it says, starting out in the abstract, chromium is required for a normal insulin function. I'll say it again for those who've never heard this. Chromium, including doctors, chromium is required for a normal insulin function. Chromium's required for normal insulin function. There are hundreds of journals that say that. Journal articles, and low levels have been linked with insulin resistance. And the conclusions of the study said that chromium supplementation could be beneficial in patients with type 2 diabetes treated with insulin, most likely due to lowered insulin resistance, leading to improved glucose tolerance. It helps. 97. Large doses of the trace element chromium may help patients with type 2 diabetes. This was in the journal called Diabetes back in 1997. Now, I've been doing this work for 41 years now, 36 at Body Chemistry, so I've seen all these articles from way back when. They do toenail and hair chromium in men with diabetes. Compared with healthy men, they find out the chromium level is low. Chromium content of women that go into gestational diabetes during pregnancy is low. Maybe that's the reason they do it. Even chromium levels in healthy and newly diagnosed type 1 diabetic children, the chromium levels were low. And it says beneficial effect of chromium supplementation on glucose, hemoglobin A1C, and lipids like cholesterol and triglycerides in individuals with new onset type 2 diabetes. These data demonstrate the beneficial effects of chromium supplementation on glycemic control and lipid variables in subjects with new onset type 2 diabetes. That was written up in Journal of Trace Elements in Medical Biology in 2011. So there have been many, many articles written. Our clinical experiences when we see someone with either symptoms of an unstable blood sugar or diagnosed hypoglycemia or diagnosed type 2 diabetes, we know that chromium is one of the things that's deficient. Most adults take 200 mcg of chromium and it's fine in a multi or whatever. If we do tests, we might find someone might need 400 micrograms of chromium, someone might need 800, some people might need 1,000. We usually start slower unless the levels on our tests are very, very low, then we recommend specifically. So with chromium and manganese and magnesium and zinc and selenium, all these affect the blood sugar metabolism, and that affects a lot of symptoms, both in the brain and the body. And if you'd like some more information on how we deal with these at Body Chemistry Associates and why we test for certain trace elements, 1-800-CHEMIST, our 36th year in South Florida. We have programs for local people all throughout Florida and even long distance, nationally and internationally. 1-800-CHEMIST is 1-800-243-6478. On the web, 1-800-CHEMIST.com. You can also find us on Facebook. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at Body Chemistry Associates and call us for more information on that. 1-800-CHEMIST, 1-800-243-6478. On the web, 1-800-CHEMIST.com. This is Jay Foster for Body Chemistry Associates and Health Connection Radio saying thanks for tuning in today, and we'll be back on a future podcast.